Hello, statistics students. Today I want to take a look at question number 2 and 3 from the practice test. So if you increase the sample size, what happens to the confidence interval? If you increase the sample size, what happens to the margin of error? So if we go back to our class notes, if you remember, we tossed a candy kiss, and between the two classes, if we tossed it 70 times, this was our confidence interval. And then if we write it as p hat plus or minus the margin of error, I highlighted that in yellow. We also tossed it 240 times, and then here's the confidence interval highlighted in green, written both ways. And then we also tossed it 700 times, and again there's the confidence interval in blue, written both ways. So if you were to look at this as we increase the number of tosses, let's take a look at what I'm highlighting in pink. Notice the margin of error gets smaller. And the second thing you can notice is if you look at the yellow interval, it's going 0.28 to 0.51. The green interval, when you toss it more, is 0.35 to 0.47. And then the blue interval, when you toss the candy kiss 700 times, is 0.35 to 0.42. Notice the confidence interval is also getting smaller or narrower. So if we go back to the two questions using this information, as you increase the sample size, what happens to the confidence interval? It gets narrower. And as you increase the sample size, what happens to the margin of error? Well, let's take a look again. Look at those pink numbers. The margin of error keeps getting smaller. So the main idea here is as you increase the sample size, the confidence interval gets narrower and the margin of error gets smaller.